So, as Brian mentioned, Randy Kearn, Director of Cloud Services here with Choice Solutions. To Brian's point, I will be celebrating my 16-year anniversary coming up here in a couple of weeks, actually, with the organization. So, I've been here a long time, worn a number of different hats. Most recently, the Director of Cloud Services. What that means, ultimately, in a nutshell, is I'm the one doing most of our managed services, conversations with our customers, helping design solutions both from managed services as well as from an ongoing IT strategy with executive leadership. And actually, I was fortunately one who also brings a lot of these new technologies that we look to bring to our customers to bear. I was fortunate enough to get introduced to Assured Data Protection, and actually through them have worked very closely with a pretty phenomenal solution in terms of traditional backups, but more importantly, we want to kind of focus on a little bit more in detail today is really that M365 backup and why it's important, why we need it, and why it should be a staple is something you're considering in your repertoire in terms of really countering those threat actors and malicious behavior in the environment, and ultimately protecting your data. So, with that, I'm going to turn over to Craig, who I had the pleasure of work with for a number of years now with Assured Data Protection, to go ahead and get us introduce himself and get us kicked off.
Sure. Craig Taylor here. I have been at Assured for about 2.5 years now. I have a long background in data center and disaster recovery. I like to say that I've been doing it since the last century. Makes it easy, short, and simple. But I've been on the customer side with Hyatt Hotels and Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And then I jumped to the dark side years ago because I realized that customers are trying to keep the lights on every day and keep the business going. And they really need help and experts on the sales side that they can trust to help them. That's why we work with partners like Choice to help you understand what we can bring to the table to help you meet requirements that you need to meet, right? So this is what we're building every day, and we'll dig into what Assured does and hopefully answer some questions for you here today. So Assured has been around for about 9 years now. Rubric technology came out about 10, 11 years ago, and Bipul Sinha came to our owners who had done this sort of work in the early 2000s with backup management companies, and they got out of the business and went on to do other things. And Bipul came to them and said, "I need you to start an MSP for Rubric." And they said, "Nah, we're not really interested in doing backup anymore. It's the, I talk about it being the last dollar and last priority of every business, but it can't be anymore, right? Because now it's a cybersecurity issue." And when they looked at the Rubric technology and understood the business model that could be built around it, they really dug in and started building this business. And we're growing like gangbusters today. We're jointly owned between the US and the UK, and we have customers around the world. And we are helping customers somewhere every week recover from a cyber situation of some sort. And just to give you some sort of scale on that, when our owners did this in the early 2000s, for about 10 years, they had 3 major recoveries in 10 years. We're helping somebody recover from a cyber attack every week now. So it's the amount of problems that have come up has really grown exponentially. And you have to make sure that you've managed all your data. Our data sets are sprawling now, right? We have got things on-prem, we've got things in the cloud, we have SaaS-based solutions that we're getting into now, right? That's really where it's going. And with M365, there's a critical piece about how your data is managed. And
Craig.
in the Mark, is there a question?
Yep, just real quick. We're not seeing your screen, bud. I don't know if you meant to share that.
My screen.
Yep,
Well,
sorry.
let me just keep talking while I don't share my screen.
Yep, no worries. Sorry, didn't want to interrupt your flow there, but want to make sure you were aware of that.
Talk forever about with no screens.
No worries.
I had all this planned out, and then I didn't click the share button. We back up a slide. Just a real, just a highlight about Assured. We're a global company. We've been around. We have years and years of experience. We talk about the Choice experience, the team that we've hired to help understand your technical requirements. The team that I'm running now, I've hired a bunch of people from, I look for backgrounds like mine where they've been on the customer side, they understand what you're doing and what you're dealing with in your seat every day, as well as experience on our side, understanding what the OEMs and what the products are doing and things like that. So M365, it's right in the contract. Microsoft recommends a third-party copy of the data. At the end of the day, they're not going to take responsibility for your data, and the data protection capabilities in M365 are very limited. So if you have requirements to keep data for a much longer period of time, and you want to manage, you have a large churn of users and you want to manage that data, it's not easy to do it in the Microsoft realm. What Rubrik allows you to do is create that backup copy of the data, takes it out of your tenant. So if your tenant's compromised, you still have your data offsite, and then give you full access to manage it. And when you do this with Assured, now you're getting an extension to your team, right? An extension to your IT group that is going to help you monitor and manage this. We don't take any capabilities away from our customers, but we're going to do everything with you and for you as well, managing the data, and we'll talk through that. So what it encompasses M365 protection, right? M365 is now a subscription, and we're going to provide you a SaaS-based offering for data protection. So when we set up your environment, we discover your subscription, and we can protect everything in your environment. Now, in some cases, you may not want to protect everything. I have a customer today that only wants to protect their mailboxes. They don't want to protect OneDrive, right? That certainly is configurable within the technology, right? You can, we talk about objects, right? Each user is an object, each OneDrive is an object, each SharePoint mount point is an object, right? So we can manage the way you protect these mount points or in these objects any way you want, right? The pricing is very straightforward. We go on a use basis, right? So it's a consumption model. So it's seat price, but there's also a capacity component. But the capacity is a pool, right? So if you have a lot more capacity per user, then we can add licenses to that and adjust the price appropriately to make sure we're covering the environment that you're protecting today. And as this changes over time, right, we can manage the cost of that solution on the back end with you. Exchange is always the important piece, right? Mail is now the critical workload of most businesses, right? And the capability to manage and backup Exchange is very granular. I can get into deleted mail from 3 weeks ago and go pull things out of there. So all of that is very capable. And the protection is once we get everything set up, it runs in the background, and then we're going to monitor and manage it for you.